Okay, good. Quality time at Waterhole. Yes. First of all, this is the set subject, and the set subject was stated as the colours of autumn, when captured correctly, are sublime. Beautiful earth tones should be beaming through your frame. Show us what autumn means to you. All right. Well, I guess the pressure was on there, and some of you did really well with it. Some of you struggled, as often we all do with set topics. But so here's our first one: quality time to Waterhole. To me, this one is certainly got the colours, but I think that's sort of somewhat in post-processing, and I think it's like it wasn't sort of thought through so well. We've got the people over on the right doing things and other people doing things, and just a bit of stage management or waiting for people to get out of the way may have produced a better image, and because it sort of ended up somewhat busy. Now, you'd like me to give the score I've given?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, we'll...
So unfortunately, just a 10 for that one.
Sorry, let's see if this will... Not used to being the presenter for these.
Okay.
Everyone can see that photo? Just give us a thumbs up, just to make sure it's all working. Cool.
Can't even see my thumb on the screen. All right. Well, there it is. Good. Okay. All right. So autumn years. Now, look, I like the concept here, and we've got an elderly lady, and so it's like the autumn of life. But in terms of the set topic, it doesn't really come through as beautiful earth tones beaming through. It's more a subdued and image, and in other areas. I think if the topic was just autumn and no description, then would have got a higher mark. But in terms of your set topic, just 10 for that one. All right, so Mansfield Autumn Tonings. Now this has come up really well on this screen, and I've got a calibrated screen and I've got an uncalibrated screen, and on the uncalibrated screen it comes up like this, and it looks a treat actually. But if I checked it out on my calibrated screen and looked at the levels, it was very dark in the foreground, unfortunately, because I think what you see here is a great image, and is exactly what I would suggest, that just need to check those levels, because this is what needs to happen. But unfortunately, because it came out a bit dark, it got us a bit of a lower score, but I've given that one 12. All right, so many leaves to fall, and so in terms of the set topic, this is right on topic, because we're looking at the colours beaming through, and a fairly simple image, I mean, of the tree branches. So we're not talking about a grand landscape or anything like that, but certainly captured it, and I think within the composition has been quite good, because my eyes immediately go off up to the top, the ends of the branches, and we've still got, we've got really strong colours up there. So well done on that one, and 13 points.
Oh. There you go.
Okay, now this one's called Last But Not the Leaf. Yeah, so it's a very simple image, and I think in terms of the composition and the concept, it's a great one. So full points for thinking of that. The trouble I had with it, and if the makers here, by all means, chip in. There's nothing precious about my comments, but the trouble I had was it's got this red edge to the leaf, and to me it didn't look natural. It looked like colours had been pushed in post processing, and so we got this sort of red edge. Now I suppose you know you could say, okay, well, we've got brilliant yellows and we've got a red edge, and that's colours and that's autumn and the rest, but it just looked a little unreal, unfortunately, because I think without that red edge, you know, the simplicity of it shone through. But 11 for that one.
This is maybe I'll do the names because then it's
okay. And then I'll know where I am. That's good.
Yeah. This is called The Fallen.
Okay. Great. Thanks, James. Yeah. So my first thought on this one was, gosh, this is different, and no idea how you did it. But you know, some post-processing things sends things into sort of wacky areas, and what this one has done is taken a group of leaves and for me made something quite dramatic out of it, and quite different, and whether they're actually the colours of autumn, or you know, they were all brown leaves, and you've done a brilliant job. To me, it doesn't matter. I just thought it was an interesting take on it, and you've tried something different, and you know, it's like it's pin sharp, and so you know, there's nothing in there to sort of distract me from saying, oh gosh, it almost worked or anything like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and 14.
Excellent. And this one's called Golden Autumn.
Okay, so in terms of the topic again, we've got the bright yellow colours. We've got the backlighting works really well with this one. Excuse me, I'm just going to change my settings. So yeah, that's better. I'm missing bits of the image, so we're back in business now. Yeah, so I like this, and I think the action is with those two leaves with the backlighting right in the middle. Now, and to some extent, the leaves in front of it are a little distracting, and I'm sort of inclined to, you know, go, oh, where are the secateurs, and let me chop them off. But I can see that, you know, you've been trying to capture something in its actual state here, and have done a great job with the backlighting and getting the focus on particular leaves, and then having the rest of the background out of focus. So well done on that, and 13 points.
And this one is Chitin Autumn.
Chitin Autumn, yeah. All right. Look, again, this is a really interesting, well thought out image, and we've got the interestingly organised background, probably with you know, with a motion blur or whatever it might be, to elongate the trees, and so I enjoyed that, and the patches there of autumn colour put in. So full points for doing that. But I think in terms of the topic, when we're talking about beautiful earth tones beaming through, unfortunately they're very muted in this one, and so in terms of what you've been asked for, it you know, don't take it as a comment on the image itself, but it just sort of struggles with matching the topic. So 11 points.
This is just autumn.
Autumn, and perfect name. And so, in a sense, beaming through is here, even though it's not the earth tones that are beaming through; it's the sun. But a clever, a clever interpretation, I think, because you've certainly, with the backlighting, captured those autumn tones there, and then you provided the added interest with the sun coming through. So I certainly enjoyed that one. 12 points.
Excellent. And our final image for this set is blowing leaves.
Blowing leaves. All right. So a bit of an action photo here with the gentleman blowing the leaves, but in terms of bright colours beaming through, probably a couple of weeks too late, something like that. And although there are bits there, and hopefully you've got some other photos with a bit more colour in them. But I think it's again one of those things that we take the photos and then we look at them afterwards and we find, oh, I never even noticed those people in the background doing whatever they're doing and providing a distraction. And so we've got a couple of people walk on the path unrelated to the topic or what you're trying to make as the main feature. And I think it's always worth trying to check out the backgrounds in photos and make sure they don't have some distracting elements there. So just 10 points for that.
Okay, so as I said, that was our last one. So for our place getters, we have So Many Leaves to Fall for Sue Sells. That's third. Second place is Golden Autumn by Robert Moises. And first place is The Fallen by Jennifer Empey.
Well done.
Congrats, everyone. So we'll move on now to the B grade. Just going to move that in case.
And of course, as many judges have told you, I'm sure this is just one person's opinion, and it's my interpretation of the set topic and such like. So yeah, thank you all for those images.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to move on to the B grade set subject, autumn, and we're starting off with benched.
All right, and so my first general comment is I think that those of you in B grade have actually been more inventive with your images than those of you in A grade. I was very much impressed with the images that were in this group. So starting off with digital benched, we've got a very very good well composed image here, and great use of short depth of field to capture these chestnuts or whatever they are. And we've got a background there, that relates to it, and we can relate it to a park, the park bench, and so it holds my. Even though I look around the image, it holds my attention back at the main focal point. So very clever, and 13 points for that.
And this is a fruit of the season.
Fruit of the season. All right. Look, this to the image maker, this has got wonderful potential, but there's just something's gone funny with it. Because I got these as a download, I could play around just with I as well as using Photoshop, I use Fast Stone, which is a free image program, and so I can just do quick levels or this or that. And all I did was I just did the levels on this one, and it made it a darker image, and rather than it being sort of grey and hazy all around it, suddenly it just got rid of all the outside area, and my attention was drawn straight into the fruit. So I just recommend to the image maker that you have a bit of play around, because, as I say, I've got I think this has got great potential. You've done the composition well, and it's all been thought out. It's just in that the lighting area, something's gone a bit astray. So unfortunately, just 11.
And this is Autumn Reflections.
All right, so Autumn Reflections, nicely composed, and you've got the autumn colours, you've got the reflections. This, in fact, is one where I reckon you could actually oomph up the yellow saturation a bit, and actually just make it that bit more punch in it. But I thought this was well on topic, and 13 points.
And Autumn.
Autumn. All right. Now, look, I am very clever, this, just how you've put it together, or you've seen the scene that was there, or whatever it is. I mean, my first thought was, that leaf that's been sort of hollowed out is a bit weird. But the point of it is that's the topic there, and that's the focal point, and you've handled it very well. The lighter areas that judges are endlessly telling you about distractions. Well, your lighter areas in this don't take away from it at all. The attention is kept on that central topic. So well done there, and 14 points.
And Late Autumn.
Late Autumn. All right. So yeah, look, this is a nice one. I just cheat a bit and pump up the yellow there a bit more to get a bit more oomph in those leaves. But I like the how you'd spotted it. You'd seen it. You've used good use of short depth of field. We can see the context of the leaves, but my eyes settle on that small branch going across the middle. So I enjoyed that one. 13.
Autumn Leaves.
All right, Autumn Leaves. Now, this one, again, on my monitor ended up being a little darker than this, and I think have a look at it again yourself, but the image maker. But I think if you could run a lasso around those branches and leaves that are lighter in the sort of the middle, but the lower middle part of the image, and just do sort of selective, or do levels on that selected area, you'll probably find it'll, with a fairly large feather, you'll probably find it just leaps out at you and creates a far stronger image. But otherwise, yeah. So I think that's really what let it down for me, just a little too dark. So 11 for that one.
Almost Empty Nest.
All right. Now, in a sense, it was a sort of slightly weird, this having whatever flowers and leaves they are. They look like rosemary, but I'm probably wrong. And it's in a nest, and nests are spring and not autumn, and all around. And I finally said, "Oh, to hell with it. Do I like it or I don't like it?" And I thought, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very inventive, this image, and we've certainly got some autumn. You've got that autumn feel about it. Yeah, as I say, enjoyed it. 14 points. All righty.
Sorry, I just
All right.
not yet there.
We're there. Good. Thanks, James.
Okay, and this one is not yet there.
Not yet there, and not yet there. All right. So yeah, I think the composition on this one struggles a little. It's a bit, I don't know, bit unsettling, and I couldn't quite work out. I don't know, do you trim a bit off the top and use the red as a frame for the other part? Because I think that line through the middle with the leaf there is what's the main focus. But I like the combination of the leaves and the tree or fence or whatever, the wood behind it anyway. I thought that was a really good connection of textures there. So, so it's a great idea, and 13 points.
A row of autumn.
All right. So we've definitely got the colours there, and we've got this great repetition with the tree trunks leading us off into the biggest cluster of the colours over in the top left. So yeah, very very well captured here, and 13 points.
And lost my cursor. Bright is bright.
Bright is bright, and so I'm guessing it's been taken in bright. So yeah, so I think it's a nicely composed image with the tree overhanging the gates and the gate posts. So that's all good. It was a little overexposed, I thought. I thought the upper part in particular might be better just by toning it down. And I don't know whether, if you've got the opportunity to sort of do this selectively on an image, and so let me just sort of run a lasso around the top area and then just pull it down, even just by using levels, so that you're getting the most out of it, because some of these gorgeous autumn colours in the top there are getting a bit drained, and I don't know whether that's because it was a bit too dark around the gates or not, but unfortunately it let it down a little. So 11 points on that.
Autumn in Myrtleford.
All right, very inventive, this one. And again, this one's come up very well. The sky was a bit because it was on the calibrated screen. The sky was quite a bit darker, but it had it was like a fairly rude. What I should do is perhaps just pop. So I'm going to pop it over to my other screen, but that's not going to happen at the moment, so let's not even bother. But what I'm looking at now, the sky is quite good, but before it was quite sort of quite a rich blue, but a slightly sort of wrong blue. Nonetheless, let's just make that point and move on. I thought this was a really great image because it's inventive. You've used the large leaf there to frame an interesting scene, and the scene's also got the autumn leaves in it. So great idea, and 13 points.
Autumnal curtain.
Okay, the autumnal curtain. So we've definitely got the colours here, and as well as I was saying earlier about some of the inventive ideas amongst your B grade images here. So this is one of them. So we've got the colours here, and then we've got a bit of a texture play around with it, and in this case, that texture seems to work quite well on these leaves and give them a bit of extra interest. So enjoyed that one, and 14 points.
Unfinished autumnal melody.
All right, well, there's a violin that's having a bad hair day, isn't it? Look at it. How inventive is this, eh? We've got the colours there, and you've done this great job with the vignette, so we don't have to get our eyes sort of dancing out to the side of the image, and so the focus is in there. And then we've got it's autumn, and we've got the connection with autumn with the violin, as well as retaining those the great strength of autumn colours that it's sitting on. So love this one, and 15 points.
Beautiful. And White River.
Okay, White River, and one of those annoying trips you've been on where the autumn came late, something like that. I've done that myself. So it's, you can go, oh, pity I wasn't here 2 weeks later or something like that. But so we've got elements here of autumn appearing. So let's not get too excited about it. But so you've got a nice composition here. And I think it's been well captured. It's just in terms of the topic, it's a little sort of short on the colours beaming through, but I enjoyed the image nonetheless, and 12 points.
That's great. That was the end of the B grade set digital. So we'll run through the results. We have a highly commended for Empty Nest by Michael Costa. A third place, Autumn by Karen Rogg. And Autumnal Curtain, second place, Mario Sherry. And first place, Unfinished Autumnal Melody by Fifi Liu.
Yes, well done. Well done.
Beautiful images. So we're going to move on to the open digital A grade. And we're starting with Lower Slot Canyon.
All right. Yes, look, really enjoyed this one. And now we on this the way it's displayed here, you've got a slightly lighter background on your Apple screen, I take it. But if it's because you've got the dark areas around the edge, I'd just suggest to anyone, I'll just say it once, and so it's not particular on this one. But if you've got an image that's going to be projected and you've got dark areas around a substantial part of the border, it always pays to put a narrow border dark grey, I suggest, because the border always ends up looking brighter than you plan it to. But even just dark grey, it's going to, in case it's projected onto a dark screen, it then shows everybody this is exactly the space that I want you to look at for my image, and you don't get bits of the image wandering off into nowhere. So yeah, so we've got for me a really great capture. I've never been to any of these slot canyons, and I've seen you know, great images and some not so great. And I'd definitely put this in the category of great. You've found a part there where you've got all the interesting silhouettes of surfaces against surfaces. So very much enjoyed that one. 14 points.
Bird bath.
Okay, bird bath. Now, I think that it's almost like there's images within images with this one, and I can see where you saw the image. You've got the symmetry about the entrance into this pool, and you've got those really interesting clouds off in the background. And the bird, the seagull in the middle, all good. I just found the rest of it a little distracting, and we've got the light part of the sky to the left there, somewhat blown out, and just sort of drawing me away. Because I think in this, with this sort of symmetry approach, what you're looking for is a point of interest bang in the middle, and obviously the fountain with some light conditions is going to create it for you, but unfortunately God and her clouds are fighting with you over on the left side. So 11 for that one.
Mount Macedon fungi.
Mount Macedon fungi. Look, I'm not going to say much about this. I just thought it was sublime. It was just, one of the most brilliant images I have seen for a very long time. And, the only emotion I can express is jealousy. So 15 points.
A prickly situation.
A prickly situation, indeed. All right. So, look, I think the topic is really interesting here, and unfortunately, the light's a bit severe here, but nonetheless, how do you capture it, and how do you get the composition? Because I think with all this going on and all these the multitude of prickly situations, you can see there. How do you get it? And for me, I think it's going to be a case of now, how do I simplify this? I need to get some simplification, because the main focus is the flower, and how do we work out the rest of it? And I think it's sort of, unfortunately, sort of ended up a bit busy. I don't have any sort of solutions for you, unfortunately, other than just taking a smaller part of it, because the green's an interesting part as well. So maybe just capturing the area with the green, and then the flower and the blue around the lower parts might work out that bit better. 11 points for that.
Serene.
Serene, indeed. Serene. So yeah, this is one of these ones that needs a border if it's going to be shown on a black background. Yeah, I enjoyed this one. It was just a gentle, simple image, and we know what we're looking at. There's no dispute. There's no distractions there. So yeah, really enjoyed it. 13 points.
Take off.
Take off. All righty. And again, we know what the focal point is on this one. Well, for me, it's the pilot. My eye just goes to the pilot there, and I was very impressed with. Firstly, your ability to take this sort of panning shot and be in full control of what you've done. That background racing past us really adds to it. The hint of the propeller spinning round. Yep, I thought this was just a great shot, and well done at 14 points.
Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, Beauty and the Beast. Now, we've obviously had the tonal or changing it to putting this tone in it post-processing, and I sort of get it, but to me the post-processing with the reds didn't quite right, because it's like a scorched earth sort of look about it, which doesn't quite relate to power stations. I mean, if I sort of struggle a bit, I can get a connection, but so to me the topic didn't quite relate to the process that had been put in there, and it's unfortunate. I think you've got there's a great composition there. I think I'd have darkened down the edges around the sides and the top a bit, but we've got a great composition happening there. It's just unfortunately the processing you chose didn't sort of work for me. So 12 points for that.
Just before I move on to the next one, I just want to say to Francoise that I can see that you're coming in remotely, and I just want to make sure that you're right with data, because obviously data, Zoom uses a fair bit of data, and we are recording tonight. So if you want to watch this later instead, save yourself the data. That is a consideration. But we'll move on to the next one. The Dance of the Dead Trees.
Dance of the Dead Trees. Yeah, so intriguing tree. I just love the textures in this tree. So, and again, look, I'd have another. Look, I'll tell you the score to start with, and then we'll have a chat about it. I gave it 12, but I rather thought it had a lot more potential. There, you've got the light bit up in the top left in particular, and that probably doesn't help it. But I think, almost like a closed landscape, if you get rid of the sky areas and just have some part of this that's just the tree, and you might sort of have it at a bit of an angle to avoid that light bit, and then just play around and find yourself a branch that's a focal point and lighten that. This one's got so much potential to be a dramatic, almost abstract image. So yeah, as I say, 12 points.
Celine and her Bowie.
Okay, Celine and her Bowie. When I first looked at this, I thought, I just, and I still do. I enjoyed this one. I think it's a really interesting image. It's been really interestingly handled. The dog's eyes are an absolute winner. But for me, I'd like to see them both in focus as much as each other, and the young girl is less in focus. So let's say this is the image you've got. I've taken this photo, and unfortunately I didn't mean to, or I did mean to, or whatever. And the young girl's got is just that the focus is a bit softer on her. I think what I'd be doing is getting rid of all the a lot of that outside area then, and just cropping hard in to the dog's face and the young girl's face, and then you'll have the two of them, one in the lower right-hand third, one in the upper left-hand third, and then you can sort of play around with it a bit, and so make it look like, you know, we really mean business. The main focal point is the dog, and the girl's just behind. Whereas the composition you've got here is, well, as I interpret it, it's only my interpretation, but as I interpret it is that they're both as important as the other. And in fact, maybe the girl's a bit more important because she's in the middle of the image. So again, you know, maybe have a play around with it and change that composition, and you might find it works even better. So despite all my whinging, 13 points.
Geelong Pier.
Geelong Pier, yeah, alrighty. So I enjoyed this one. This was really good. You've got the lines leading with the rope leading over to the middle with this area of sky with the red in it, and the pier itself's pointing in the same direction. So that's where we're going with it, and we've got a nice reflection of that light as well. And then unfortunately we've got this bright bit of light over on the right hand side, and why on earth wasn't that bright bit over at the end of the pier where I wanted it when I was taking my photo? You know, really irritating. So I think in these circumstances I'd be just trying to tone that down. Now I know, you know, if you tone that down, you're gonna have to tone down the reflection on the right hand side, etc. But I think, you know, you've got a strong image in the left hand 2/3 of this, and so I enjoyed it. I just think you know, this image with a bit of subduing the right hand side, you know, you could get something that's a 14 or a 15 out of it. So I've given it 13.
Catching air.
Catching air. Alrighty. So we've got the gentleman doing the videoing is capturing something there, and then we've using the monochrome. That's good. It just takes all. Well, I think in a sense it takes some of the distraction away. But the main problem that struck me from the moment I saw this is we've got these distractions in the background. We've got the lady on the right taking a photo with her camera. We've got these two people walking around right where you don't want them, and if they were the only problems, I'd be cloning those two out. But you know, cloning the woman on the right out is, you know, going to be a bit more of a challenge for me. And then of course there's the guy with the bald head behind. So we've got all these things, and then, you know, we look over, there's a pair of legs sticking out on the left. So it's one of these issues of, you know, you can have the greatest image, and if you just look at what's the main focus here, it's a really great image. But you know, the greatest of images, as Bruce Postle from The Age used to say, the greatest of images can be ruined by an unfortunate background, and I think that's what's happened in this case. So 10 points.
And our final image in this set is juvenile stilt.
Okay, so usually you get comments from me like birds have got to do something more than just sort of sit there or stand there or something like that. But there was something I found quite gorgeous about the light here, as well as, you know, the composition of this image. But we've got the really nice light and the way that's been handled, and the interesting different tones in the water. So I enjoyed this, and 14 points.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. So on to the results for the A grade Open Digital. We have Geelong Pier, highly commended for Tahir Rafiq. Juvenile Stilt by Ronald Clark, highly commended. Third place, Lower Slot Canyon by Leo Loke. Second place, Takeoff by Phil Taylor. And first place, Mount Macedon Fungi by Neil Anderson. Well done, everybody. So we're on to our last section. This is our B grade Open Digital. Kicking it off with Morning Glare at Buckley's.
All right. So we've got nice repetitions here with the water pouring over the top of the waterfall, or the wall, or whatever it is there. I'm not familiar with this site. That doesn't matter. We've got nice repetitions there. We've got the different repetitions with the different way the water's going down the waterfall, and we've got the light areas with the in the foreground. So that all works rather well. I think I'd personally chop it off. We don't need to see all those plants above the top of the water there. I'd be looking at this one as like a closed landscape. I know it's already closed because there's no sky, but if you get what I mean, that crop it near the top of those vertical shafts of water, and then get rid of the river in the foreground, and so then we don't have these other areas distracting from us at the top and the bottom, and our eyes are naturally then going to go into something in the middle of the image, and to a large extent you've got those there, and you choose one or the other of the lighter areas. So 12 points.
Baby Doll.
Baby Doll. Okay, well my comments, my first comment I put with this one is I just didn't get it. So it's come up certainly lighter on the screen I'm looking at the moment, than the one I judged it on. So it is very dark, and then I sort of couldn't work out what it was about. I mean, because it looks in some ways distorted or something like that. And so you can understand I'm spending my time struggling with this instead of appreciating whatever it is you're trying to express in the image. So look, it may be something that other people will get, but unfortunately it didn't work for me. So 10 points.
Hamburger Satisfaction.
Okay, all right. Well, indeed, it still makes me feel hungry, and I've had dinner tonight. So, and I thought I'd never think of taking a photo of this sort of thing. So good on you, and you've got in there close. You won't have the judge suggesting you do any more cropping on this one, will you? I thought that was very good. You've got to the nub of it. The only thing is, I think just on the right there, that bit of salad or whatever it is, I'd probably just sort of tone that down a bit so that we're still looking at that cheese and bacon, etc. So, but I did enjoy the idea that you could actually photograph this, and you've done a great job on the composition as well. So 13 points.
The Migration.
All right. So, all right, we've got the migration, and so somewhere in East Africa and all the wildebeests. And I know from experience, it's very easy to get photos of wildebeest bums, but getting them to turn around the other way is a bit of a struggle at times. So I think what happens with subjects like this is there's so many of them. Where's the image? And in the foreground, we've sort of got half a wildebeest on the left, and we've got half wildebeest on the right, and what is it that I need to draw my attention? And I see that tree in the middle distance on the right hand side, and so my thoughts and there's a bit of a gap above the first clump of wildebeests there, and my first thought is, oh, maybe there's an image of putting that tree, on the right hand thirds or somewhere around that area, and then just having the other wildebeest around, or making a landscape and not having all these foreground ones. Because, as I say, the challenge is always to, when you've just got these hundreds and thousands or Smarties or whatever they are, is to get a focal point and not be chopping things off halfway. So I'm not sure the top half of the image adds to it. I think the more you can sort of concentrate in on the wildebeest, the stronger the image is going to be. So just 11 points for that one.
A day on the lake.
A day on the lake, intriguing. It almost from the position the image is taken, it's almost like you've snorkeled out there and just stuck your head above the water and taken the photo. I don't know how you managed to get so low. I was quite impressed with that, whether that's true or not, but that feeling about it. So we've got the lines here from the start going up to the other boat there, and then we've got the lines up the fjord, I'm assuming it is, up to the intriguing sky. So works really well in monochrome here. So I just play around with it. I think for me the water's just a bit too, or the middle of the water's just a bit too sort of a little more overpowering than it needs to be, and then the hill with the scar on it, you could probably get that to be a bit more, get a bit more contrast in that, and give it all a bit more oomph. So as I say, I'd be playing around a bit with lassos and trying to do a bit with levels and see where it led you. But nonetheless, I enjoyed that one, and 13 points.
Painted stairs.
Okay, painted stairs. All right, so this is one of those examples, I guess, of someone else's art, and how do I capture someone else's art and turn it into my own art. And I suppose, so that it's not, it's not simply me a copy of someone else's. So in a sense, we've included the stair rails here, but I think if you're going to do that and you've got the stair rails going up, and if you happen to be in this place with someone else, get them to go and stand up near the top of at the top of the stairs, or up on the top platform, or just and just have their legs going off up into the distance to get a bit of direction in it, because I know I've had the same problem. No one ever times I used to travel by myself, and no one would ever walk up the stairs when I needed them to. So to a large extent, I'm left with this one that it is someone else's art, and we've got a bit of oversaturation going on that's sort of showing up in the sort of the odd colours in the handrails. So 11 points for that one.
Stepping stones.
Stepping stones. Okay, great stepping stones here, and I think there is there's a subject here. It's the people in the middle there on the stepping stones, but they are an awfully long way away, aren't they? And they're the focus. That's what you want to be happening there. I don't think otherwise there's enough going on with the, like, you've got the lines, if you like, the sort of horizontal repetition of patterns there with light, dark, and then up into the trees, but it's probably not going to cut it. What you're looking for is to get get something happening with these people, because there is a great image there of them and the stones. But I'd be just trying to concentrate on the those people and not have the light bit of water in the foreground and not have the sky above it, and then we can our eyes can settle on those people. So 11 points for that.
Sunset.
Sunset. Okay, now this is an image. Again, if you get an opportunity to resubmit it, I'd do it. I think this is one that's got such great potential, but there's a couple of things going wrong. One is that the horizon's not horizontal, so get that sorted out. That's fairly easy to sort out. The other thing was with the levels. It was really. Yeah, you just get the slide. I just did it with the sliders on the levels, and once I just pulled those into the histogram, and I think it was principally on the right hand side. This image just shone, but unfortunately, as provided was fairly sort of flat and grey. So I could only give that one, it could be a 13 or 14, but I could only give it an 11.
Take a seat.
Take a seat. Very clever. I enjoyed this because of its simplicity. You could work out what it was. You know, we've got the, and it's even on a veranda, so it's, the shadows are nicely positioned for, it's all very clever, nice and simple. Not much else to say about it. I enjoyed it, and 13 points.
Bluey.
Bluey. Okay, so Bluey here is a sitting on a branch, and we've got it's been nicely handled in terms of the background being nicely blurred, but my interpretation of what's happened is that there's been a lot of denoising going on with this, and what it's done is you can see it in bits of blur on the tree, and then blur on the light coloured feathers above the bird's eye. And so one of the more important things I think with bird images is to have as much as you can, especially with this type of situation, is to be able to see the individual feather lines, and that's rather got lost. I'd also say, if you're doing it, it's always going to be better if you've got more bird than branch as well. But really, what went wrong with this one is that post-processing with the denoising. So just 10, unfortunately.
Textile worker.
All right. Okay. So again, check the levels. This one's, if you just simply look at the levels on this one and pull those sliders in to the from the edges into the histogram, and this image will zing. You've got the vignetting happening, but at the moment it's ended up just sort of fairly drab. So again, you could be getting a 13 or something like that for this image, but unfortunately, I could just give it an 11.
Old shed.
Old shed, okay. So my thought was, because my eyes were sort of bouncing around this image, what's the focal point of this? Because if it's the shed that's been framed by the leaves, then I really need that shed to be in focus. If it's the leaves, okay, but they're not, there's something beyond them, so my eye's been taken away. So I think it's just one of these sort of fundamental things. You've got the framing there. I'd get rid of most, frankly, I'd get rid of most of the top and the two sides and just have this framing going on with the leaves. But I'd be getting the focal point to be the building at the end, so my eye's drawn through and I can see its framing, and that's nice, and do it that way around. So 10 points on that.
A path of light.
Path of light. Okay, well, this is one of those examples where Moody certainly works. Nice and simple. Lighting's been really well handled, and you've got the people at just the right location. Get the that edge lighting around them, and it's the sort of image that sort of conjures up, okay, what's happening? I can think of a story that I can connect with it, and yeah, I thought this one was really good. 14 points.
The resident bird.
The resident bird. Now, I've got to tell you, the resident bird's about the last thing I noticed in this image, but the famous Wanaka tree, and it's a great interpretation of this, because as I'm sure we all know, it's been photographed a million times, and I've had a go at it myself, and I rather enjoyed the dreamy sort of feel of this, which I'm assuming was a fairly long exposure to get that dreamy look in the water and the bit of movement in the clouds. And fortunately, the tree is just as sharp as all get out. So this is, and I think this is a good example of those places that have been photographed a million times, and how can I'm here and I've got my camera. How can I interpret it in some way that is different, or expresses what I think about it? And I think this image has done that very well. So 14 points.
And our final image in this set, Country Lane.
Country Lane, yeah. So this is a really interesting one, and hopefully you've played around and taken a few images here, because to me it's got two focal points. You've got the sunburst there, that's my eyes going to that, but this road, I don't know if it's the traffic engineer in me, but I'll look up a road anytime. And we've got the road in this image leading off, and we've got the sort of captured a framing there at the rise in the road. And for me, I think that's where the image is. That's the focal point there. So I'm just hoping you also took walked a few paces down the road and got the sun blocked out behind that tree, and got images with that tree on the right just framing it, and then the image being up the tree, up the road, because I think the lighting, what you've captured in the whole image in terms of the lighting and how you've handled everything technically is just great. So 12 points for that one.
Excellent, thank you. So the results for the B grade Open Digital. Highly commended to Debbie for hamburger satisfaction. Highly commended to Francoise for Take a Seat. Third place, A Day on the Lake by Tony Aseri. Second place, The Resident Bird by Fifi Liu. And first place, A Path of Light by Mario. Congratulations, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Congrats to all our winners and place getters, and thank you very much, Rob, for your feedback and for taking the time out to look at our photos and to give us your opinions and the creative criticism that I think we all need from time to time. So thank you very much for coming along.
My pleasure. Thank you all, and hope it's been of some assistance. And I certainly enjoyed looking at the images. Thanks so much.
Thanks. I'm going to head back to Neil.
Thanks, James, and thanks a lot, Rob. Very constructive comments, and very. I guess the other thing is very impressed with the B grade, as you said. A lot of creativity in there,
Yeah.
and a lot of effort has been put in as well. And so, congratulations to all the people that entered, but all the place getters as well. It's really great, and as I said, thanks for your comments and your time put into that. Excellent.
My pleasure. Okay, I'll wish you farewell and happy photographing, and perhaps see you in sometime in the future. All the best. Take care.
Thanks, Rob.